The number one trending topic on EB-5 these days is when the current $500,000 minimum investment amount will go up. This debate has been going on since 2015, and in this video, I'll talk about the short history of increased efforts and share with you my personal predictions on what I think might happen. Before we begin, let me explain a couple of basic concepts. Currently, the minimum investment to qualify for an EB-5 immigrant visa is $500,000 if the investment is located in what is called a TEA, Targeted Employment Area, or $1 million if the investment is not located within a designated TEA. In fiscal year 2016, over 97% of EB-5 visas were claimed in projects located within TEAs. In other words, most EB-5 visas are based on $500,000 investments. Since 2015, there have been 12 different legislations drafted to address different aspects of EB-5 program reform, of which 8 were officially introduced in the House or Senate. Of these 12 pieces of legislation, 8 have included provisions to increase the minimum investment amount, ranging from $650,000 to $1 million for the current $500,000 TEA amount. In addition, separate from the legislative solutions being proposed by Congress, there are also efforts being made by the administrative branch as well. So let's find out where the discussions stand today as of September 4, 2017. Let me give you the short version first. It is likely that the minimum investment will not go up on September 30 of this year, and Congress will at least punt until early December of 2017. If that was all you needed, you can stop watching now. But if you want the longer version of why, and are also curious about what I think will happen after December 2017, then you're going to have to keep watching. The United States federal government has 3 equal branches: the legislative branch that makes the law, the executive or administrative branch that carries out the laws, and the judicial branch that evaluates and reviews the laws. The current EB-5 laws are part of the Immigration and Nationality Act enacted by Congress. It's important to understand, however, that the laws that Congress enacts, whether it be about EB-5 or any other topic, only sets the broad framework of how something should work. It's not possible for Congress to come up with every single rule related to EB-5 or any other topic for that matter. So the agencies in the administrative branch will come up with its own regulations and rules and policies. In other words, the USCIS is given certain latitude within the confines of the existing EB-5 laws to set its own rules regarding certain things. And the fact is, the USCIS already has the authority to increase the minimum investment amount without waiting for Congress to go through the somewhat bulky process of making new law. Because the current $500,000 minimum investment amount was established way back in 1992, there is very little controversy about the fact that this number needs to be increased. And while the minimum investment amount is the most important topic related to EB-5 for most investors, there are many other facets to the EB-5 laws that need to be addressed in any legislative reform. But herein lies the problem. Because there are so many aspects of the EB-5 program that need to be addressed in the new law, inevitably, when a new EB-5 law is introduced, there is a lot of talk but little action. In other words, passing a law is not that easy. That's why the EB-5 Regional Center program has been sputtering through short extension periods since 2015, when the first of the 12 bills were introduced. However, if it's only the minimum investment amount that needs to be addressed, the USCIS, as part of the administrative branch, already has the authority to increase the amount by changing the EB-5 regs without waiting for Congress to take any action. And in fact, that is exactly what the USCIS started to do in 2014. However, with the flurry of activity in Congress in 2015, it looked like the USCIS decided to take a backseat and wait until Congress passed a new law that would include that piece anyway. But as we now know, Congress was not able to pass anything, and so the USCIS started saying again in 2016 that they were going to resume efforts to increase the minimum investment amount. Finally, in January of this year, the USCIS published new regulations, affectionately called regs for short, that propose that the $500,000 minimum investment amount be increased to $1.35 million for investments into TEAs, and the $1 million minimum investment amount for non-TEAs be increased to $1.8 million. Since then, 4 new bills related to EB-5 were introduced, of which 2 are currently actively being discussed. One is the Grassley-Leahy bill, and the other is the Cornyn bill. Both bills propose to increase the $500,000 minimum amount to $800,000, while the Grassley bill keeps the non-TA amount at $1 million, and the Cornyn bill actually decreases the non-TA amount to $925,000. At the time the 2 bills were floated, the U.S. government fiscal year, which was supposed to end on September 30, 2016, had been extended to April 30, 2017, and the EB-5 Regional Center program was also part of that extension. So there was a brief period after the Grassley bill was introduced in early April that a very quick deal would be struck and that the minimum would increase from $500,000 to $800,000 on April 30, 2017. But that didn't happen. Instead, the EB-5 Regional Center program was given another short-term extension until September 30 of this year, which is 26 days away. So, now what? At least short-term, it doesn't seem likely that Congress will be able to pass a new budget by September 30, 2017. There are just too many things to do that haven't been done, such as setting a budget, dealing with the national disasters, reforming the tax code, and maybe even building a wall at the border. So it's likely that any decisions related to EB-5 legislation will be pushed back along with all the other decisions. It is also likely that Congress will give itself a short-term extension until mid-December to deal with all things it was not able to deal with, as has happened every single year since 2007, with the exception of 2012. So, in short, if you have been mulling over EB-5 and are about to take the dive, but you're concerned that the minimum will go up on September 30, I think there is a very good chance that you will be okay at least until early December. So if you start now, you should be okay. But that doesn't mean that if you were already in the process, you should feel like you can slow down. Because while we know 100% that the minimum amount will not be increased prior to September 30, we do not know 100% that it won't be after that. This is where I put the giant disclaimer that says, this is my personal opinion only. But what about after December 2017? From there, any number of things can happen, but here is my own personal view. First, either the Cornyn bill or the Grassley bill could be passed, and the minimum investment could be finally increased to $800,000, or neither bill passes by December, and the Regional Center program could be given another short-term extension as is until September 30, 2018, which is exactly where we were last year and where we were in 2015. But this year is notably different because the USCIS has already drafted and published new regs related to the minimum amount increase from $500,000 to $1.35 million, which can happen as long as they want it to happen without any action from Congress. I mentioned earlier that these new regs were published on the Federal Register in January 2017. After that, the USCIS opened up the rules for comments, and that comment period closed in April of this year. Since then, nothing has happened, which led people to wonder if the USCIS was, again, waiting to see if Congress would take action. Well, that changed a couple of days ago on August 31st, 2017. The White House's Office of Management and Budget updated the webpage for the EB-5 Immigrant Investor Program Modernization Regulations, And it now says that the final action date is going to be April 00, 2018. This is not a binding date, actually it's not even a date, so the actual process can move faster or slower. But it almost seemed like the administrative branch was signaling to the EB-5 industry and Congress that if you guys don't come up with a reform package soon, we're going to go ahead and implement our version of the increase to 1.35 million. So if you don't want that to happen, hurry up and do something. At the end of the day, time will tell what is going to happen, so it's not going to be a mystery forever. I hope you found this interesting. Please subscribe to our channel to get notifications about new video updates. Thank you.